Hey everyone, and welcome back. Today, we're talking about a frontier name that most people treat like a cartoon superhero, even though he was a real human being with bills to pay, elections to win, and mistakes to make. Davy Crockett. When you hear that name, you probably picture one version of him, the fearless wilderness legend in a coonskin cap, cracking jokes, wrestling danger, and never, ever losing. But how does an ordinary person turn into a larger-than-life character? Well, it all starts with where he actually came from. Crockett was born in Tennessee in 1786, and his early life wasn't polished or comfortable. It was the kind of life where you learn fast or you fall behind. Work came early. School was limited. The frontier wasn't a movie set, it was dead. Harsh weather, rough travel, and doing whatever job kept your family moving forward. And Crockett did a bit of everything. He worked, traveled, hunted, tried to build a living, and learn how to read people the way you have to when you race surviving on your reputation alone. That mixed upness plus social instincts became his real superpower. Then came war. During the War of 1812 era, Crockett served in local militia units. This was a big deal because it helped turn a local guy into a public figure. In early America, military service didn't automatically make you famous, but it did make you visible, and visibility was currency. After that, Crockett did something that surprises people who only know the legend. He became a politician, not some fancy drawing room politician. He was more like a blunt, backwoods representative who understood that stories win attention, and attention wins votes. He served in the Tennessee legislature and later in the U.S. House of Representatives. He argued about land, settlements, and what the government should and shouldn't do, real issues that affected real lives. And here's where the myth starts getting built while he's still alive. Crockett was good at selling a version of himself. He leaned into the frontier man image because it worked. He told humorous, self-deprecating stories. He played the role people wanted to see, the straight-talking outsider who couldn't be controlled by the big shots in Washington. But even that outsider hero image had a complicated edge. Crockett had serious political conflicts, especially with President Andrew Jackson. At one point, Crockett broke with Jackson and took positions that made him unpopular with powerful forces back home. Politics on the frontier wasn't a gentle business. If you lost your allies, you could lose your entire career. So Crockett's story isn't just hero wins. Sometimes it's hero loses, argues, and gets outnumbered. Eventually, after his political fortunes shifted, he headed to Texas. This is the chapter most people remember, because it's where the legend gets locked into American memory forever. He became connected to the Texas fight for independence, and in 1836, he died at the Alamo. That final stand mattered because it created the perfect ingredient for a legend, an ending that feels dramatic, simple, and symbolic. And legends love simplicity. But here's the key. The cartoon version of Crockett didn't fully come from what he did. It came from what other people did with his name. Not long before and right after his death, publishers pumped out wildly popular stories, often called the Crockett Almanacs. These weren't careful biographies. They were pure entertainment. They turned Crockett into a frontier superhero who could outshoot, outjump, outsmart, and outluck the entire universe. In those stories, Crockett isn't just brave, he's impossible. He's fighting bears like it's a casual afternoon. He's performing ridiculous stunts. He's always the cleverest, toughest man in the room. He was basically the frontier's answer to a comic book character, and the audience loved it. Because those stories weren't trying to teach history, they were selling an identity. In the 1800s, the United States was expanding fast, changing fast, and constantly arguing about what kind of country it wanted to be. Frontier legends helped people feel like the nation had a certain personality: bold, funny, unstoppable, and self-made. Crockett became a symbol you could print and sell. Then, a century later, the legend got a second life in a brand new machine: television. In the 1950s, Disney's Davy Crockett series exploded in popularity. This is where the coonskin cap becomes a national costume, and Crockett turns into a clean, family-friendly icon. The rough edges of his real life get sanded down. The complicated politics get simplified. The complex human gets turned into an easily lovable hero for a new generation. So the Crockett most people recognize today is actually a stack of different versions: a real frontier-born Tennessean, a clever politician who knew that branding matters, a national symbol shaped by ambitious publishers, and a media hero polished by television. And that's the real lesson here. Legends don't replace reality all at once. They layer over it, bit by bit. Crockett wasn't a perfect superhero. He was a person navigating a hard world, using his voice, his reputation, and his image to survive and compete. The myth didn't appear because he was fake. The myth appeared because he was useful to voters, to publishers, and to a growing country that desperately wanted heroic stories about itself. So when you hear Davy Crockett, king of the wild frontier, don't just think true or false. Think, what does a country gain when it turns a human being into a symbol? It gains confidence. It gains a story that travels faster than facts. It gains a hero-shaped shortcut for its national identity. But the cost is that the real person, messy, political, and imperfect, gets blurred behind the costume. The most interesting part of his story isn't that he became famous. It's how quickly America learned to mass-produce a hero. Thanks so much for watching. If you found this interesting, be sure to like and subscribe for more deep dives into history. See you next time.